a successful showing down there. I sold most of everything that I took. I brought back a few things, but I sold most of what I took. But a couple months ago, Furtado was he did a video where he was cutting up log and stuff like that, and he came back and he was on his bandsaw and he was cutting up everything on his bandsaw. Well, one problem, 14-inch bandsaws are great, and a lot of wood shops have 14-inch bandsaws. They're very good. The only problem is you get a 6-inch cut, and that's from the table up to your guides. And a lot of times you may be cutting a bowl blank and you want to round it out with your bandsaw, but hey, you know, it's too thick. It won't go. So and I also do a good bit of resawing. So what I'm trying to do is increase the capacity of my bandsaw. And the way I'm going to do that, I've already watched, I've got a Grizzly bandsaw. I've watched their videos on how to do it, and I've also got their instructions that came with my riser block kit. So anyway, first thing is first, we're going to unplug it. So it's already unplugged, and then we're going to get started. I'll show you what came in the kit. Okay, for starters, you got your installation instructions. Step by step. There's 8 simple steps to doing this. Oh well, 16 simple steps. Also, you should have an assistant to help you with this, especially if your bandsaw is cast iron, and mine happens to be, but I don't have an assistant. Anyway, I'll make do. But it comes with the guide post here that holds your upper guides. It comes with the bolt that secures everything back together once you take the bandsaw apart, and the riser block goes in between that. The new blade guard, and it also comes with a new blade guide. So anyway, this is a 6-inch riser block, and basically all that happens is you take the bottom and the top sections apart, and that goes in the middle, and you're good to go. Most of the tools and stuff that you're going to need are right here. A couple of wrenches, a couple of big wrenches that'll fit the nut on the big bolts here, and a smaller wrench for your guides, and a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver. And of course, your safety glasses, and some kind of square or a level box or something like that to make sure that everything's back once you get it put back together, that your table's all straight and flush and square. Alright, well, I guess we'll get started. Alright, first thing we want to do is go ahead and open it up. Make sure there again that you are unplugged. Go ahead and open your cabinet up and get ready to remove the blade. That guard's got to come off. Now that's off. Okay, now we're going to take the blade off, loosen the tension. I'm just going to run the tension as far down as I can. Okay, now we'll remove the blade. Okay, put that up where you can't get cut. And the table comes off. And that's just the trunnion knobs up under the bottom. Okay. Now the table just lifts right off. Put it somewhere nice and secure so it can't fall. Alright. Okay, well, I didn't push the record button, I guess, but all I did was I removed the blade guide right here. It's 2 screws, one at the top, one at the bottom. That comes off just like that, and you put it aside. And then your switch. There again, it's got 3 screws. It mounts here. You just loosen those screws and lay this down. Just let it hang. Just let it hang there. Now comes the kind of scary part. You really need an assistant here. I'm going to try to do it without. You may see me destroy my bandsaw. But there's a bolt back here that you have to take out. And I'll show that to you right quick. It's this big bolt right here. It's got to come out. That's what holds together the top section to the bottom section. So that's got to come out. And then this bolt is going in to replace it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure this first of all, and it is about 1.25 inches, and the riser block is 1.5 inches. I mean, is 6 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set the nut and go ahead and run that thing up to where I'll just have minimal turns to start getting this thing tight. So let's go ahead and start working on that right quick. Okay, so I've got 1.25 inch space there, and I've got about 6 1/16 here. So I'm thinking if I open this up 7.5 inches, which is kind of close, we'll roll that in about 1/4 inch. See where I'm at now. Okay, I'm about 7.5. Alright, so now I should be able to slip this. It goes in here just like this. And then it'll catch the bottom section and the top section, and we'll tighten it up. Okay, got it broke loose. I'm just going to hold it down. Good firm pressure. Take the bottom nut off. Put that nut down there. Keep holding it good and tight. Okay, oh, that's not as heavy as I thought it was. Okay, now what we've got a couple of notches that fit in those holes right there. This notch and that notch, and it just sits right there just like that. But make sure there's no contaminants up under it. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to set this up here and get that bolt started. Okay. Alright, now then, let's sure everything's straight the way it's supposed to be. Haha. Well, once I figured it out, it wasn't that hard. Okay. Get that back in there good and tight. Now, I'll tighten it up. I don't have the right size wrench for the bottom, so I ended up using a pair of channel lock or V-groove joint pliers, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. Wow, that added a bunch, didn't it? Let me back it up. Alright, so I'll just hold it with this one here and tighten it up with this one. Darn, you believe that's a different size bolt than the other one? Haha! Nothing a little bit of die grinding can't fix. Doggone. If you ain't got the right size wrench, you make one that will. This thing just barely wouldn't open up enough. Alright, we just about got her. Alright. Okay, that's good. Now the hardest part's done. Alright, well, it's time to start putting it all back together. And I'm just going to reverse everything. We'll go back with the switch first. A little washer there. Alright, and there's two screw holes already provided. Well, I'm going to get the other one in there. Get it started. I'll have to tie those back, I guess. Oh, that's good. Alright, now it's time for the blade guide. And it's just an aluminum extrusion. It's got big holes here that fit right over the studs there. And then these little caps hold it all in place. You just screw them right back in where they came from. Alright. It's got the blade guide in place. Just make sure everything's nice and snug. Very good. There's my table. Okay. Knobs right there. go ahead and get it close back to 0 anyway. Alright, she's close back to 0. Alright, now I've got to take this off and get ready for the other one. Okay, that's gone. Now what we have to do is remove, see if you can see this. Okay, this has got to come off now. Okay, this is the bottom of that one. Alright, we're going to loosen this up and slide this through the bottom. But don't go too far yet. And we put this one in on top of it and push it out with it. There we go. That way you don't lose the little ball bearing that holds in the groove there. It's a little ball bearing in there in a spring. If you lose that, or if it falls out, you put the bar in, you put the ball bearing in, you put the spring in, and you put the screw right back in. But that's looks good to me right there. All right, I like it. We are getting close. And then this will go right back on there. The blade guides, right back on there. Yep, okay, make sure everything still stays right. Okay, and I'll have to adjust those later too. Right, now we're ready for the blades. We'll talk about blades for just a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. All I did was screw that onto there. Alright, let's talk about the blades for a minute. Okay, I just came back from one of the neatest stores you'll ever go to. And that was Rockler. There's a Rockler in Sandy Springs, so it's not too awful far from here. But they sell, you know, they sell just about anything woodworking. But I decided I go with a little bit nicer blade than what I normally buy. I bought the All Pro PGT, and I'm going to see how they work, because they're not that much more expensive than regular blades, but you know, they may do a lot better. So I'll see. But I always use, generally I always use a 1/2 inch blade. I generally keep it on my saw all the time because I just use it for general purpose, and I get the, you know, 3 teeth per inch blades, because normally I'm not that worried about how fine the cut is and stuff like that. I'm mainly roughing out bowl blanks or resawing or something like that, where a really aggressive blade is needed. So I don't buy the mini tooth blades. The riser block and all came with a grizzly blade. And it's a 3/8, and I don't know what the teeth per inch is. It looks like about 10 or 9 or 10. Let me look at it. We'll see if we can put this out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's about 6 teeth per inch. So, you know, I'll keep it and I'll use it when I get in a pinch and have to have a blade on there or something. But we're going to go with these All Pros this time and see, and they are already sharp. Most bandsaw blades that I buy, they're not sharp when I get them. So we're going to try these and see how they do. Alright, let's get with it. Okay, one thing I didn't do is I didn't double check the wheels, if they're coplanar, if they're turning together on the same plane. So I'm going to do that now, and all that involves is just taking a straight edge and putting it across one wheel and see if it touches at the top and bottom of this wheel and the top and bottom of this wheel, and it does. So I'm coplanar there. If it wasn't coplanar, Grizzly suggests putting shims under your riser block to tilt the top one way or the other, just enough to get everything in alignment. But everything's good, so we're gonna proceed on. We're gonna put a blade on there and get the guard on. Matthias had the best idea for that. You go out in the grass and just throw your blade up in the air, and that way it doesn't spring around and cut you all to pieces. Alright, let's gun sharp. I touched the back side of the tooth. But alright. Okay. There we go. Now I need to make sure that this thing starts riding true. So turn it slowly. Adjust the tracking. Get the tracking adjusted here. I want the blade in the very center of the wheel. And you can see here that the blade is in the dead center of the wheel. That's where you want it to ride. It'll help. And as you can see, it's the same on the very bottom also. The wheels are nice and coplanar. They're parallel to each other, and the blade should run very well on that. Okay. Now this is going to change my little gauge back here, but I really don't use the gauge anyway. What I usually, the way I normally do, is I'll tension it up. You hear how loose that sounds? I'll tension it up until it sounds like like a guitar string. Getting there. You check your deflection with just minimal deflection, minimum pressure with your fingers. You should get about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch right here. So that blade is tensioned well, I think. Alright, so that's that. And alright, let me get the blade guard put back on, and this thing will be ready to work. we go. Alright, now we want to loosen everything up good. Make sure that on the guides, okay, okay, alright, the bottom one. Just want to loosen up all your guides and get everything back away from the blade so the blade can kind of find its own way. Okay, now, check's good and tight. Alright, don't have to worry about that anymore. Alright, now, make sure your tracking's good. I've tightened it so I can see that I need to adjust the tracking just a little bit. Now all I'm doing is getting it back in the center of the wheel. Just slowly turn it. Okay, now we're back. We're tracking good now. On the bottom wheel also. So, and all my guides are back away from the blade, not touching. Now I'm just going to start bringing in the thrust bearing on the top until it touches. Once it touches, I'm going to back it off. Give me about 1/1000th of an inch. Tighten it up and see. Just make sure it doesn't spin. It just barely does touch it. Every now and then. So, alright, now for these, I want to move them up to the very back of the gullet and lock that down. So they're just behind the gullet. And then I'm going to have to get in your area here so that I can adjust these. Maybe I can do that. I'm going to tighten this up until these things will just barely move when I turn them. Okay, that's good. They're good and tight. I'm going to bring my guides in till they're just barely touching. Yep. Okay, that's good right there. Those guides are good. Tighten everything down and make sure they stay good. Okay, so now I'll do the very same thing with the bottom. Alright, now I'm just going to check for level, or see how square she is. 89.9. 0.01 or 0.1 to 90. That's close enough for anything I'm going to do with a bandsaw. Alright, so alright, we should be good to go. I'm going to get you out of the way and I'm going to plug it back up and we'll see what we got. One of these days I'll get a bigger shot. Alright. Okay. Alright, here goes nothing. Let's see. Put my glasses on. Make sure nothing explodes anywhere. Oh wow, amazing. Okay. Now that was about as thick as it would cut before. But now, damn, I gotta quit doing that. Now I can raise it up to here, which should give me about 12 inches. Yep, 12 inches. Dead on 12 inches. It's 12 inches right to the guide. Beautiful. That's pretty good. That's cherry, and it's at its widest point, it's 8.5 inches, and it's cut right through it, buddy. I love them blades. That was all blade right there. Is what that was. That was. But the saw set up good. Nice straight cut. Nice straight cut all the way down. That's ready to go in the kiln. I'm gonna go ahead and cut another one. There we go. My bandsaw now has a 12-inch thick cutting capacity, and we'll see how over time how it actually performs. But I'm perfectly happy with it right now. It's it seems to be tuned good. Everything's square, set. But all we did was we added the 6-inch riser block kit, which is available for most 14-inch bandsaws. You can get those with. You have to check with the company that made your bandsaw, but hey, I like it. And it wasn't that hard to do. It would have been better if I had started out with all the correct tools, but I don't have a wrench that big, and I don't have a socket that big, so I was just kind of up the creek. Had to improvise and grind down my adjustable wrench right here to fit on there, but it still closed all the way up. So now I've got one with a wider capacity than normal. Two birds with one stone. No, but easy install. Make sure you double check your wheels when you get it installed. Make sure that they're still coplanar, and get everything set back up right, and your saw should cut good. I saw a guy, it was a long time ago on YouTube, and he was talking about tuning a bandsaw, and when I resaw that just then, I just set my rip fence to 1 inch and cut it, and it's a nice, smooth, straight cut, 1 inch thick. But a lot of people will tell you, excuse me, that you have to loosen these screws up and set your fence for each blade that you have, because each blade is going to cut differently. That's wrong, folks. You don't have to do all of that. If you keep your blade sharp, you'll keep that blade sharp, and you keep it. When you open this up, and you make sure that that blade is running on the center of that wheel, it'll cut straight. It'll cut straight as long as the blade's sharp. And where it starts turning and veering and all with you and cutting at an angle is when it's starting to get dull. So sharpen it up, or get a new one and sharpen it, and let her ride. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, installing a riser block and tuning up the bandsaw. And but my next video is going to be kind of a collaboration between me and John Williams down in Tampa, my buddy down there, and he needed some coasters made for a client of his, and asked me if I would mind routing those things on my X-Carve. So he sent them up here after he turned them on the lathe roughly, and I did my carving and sent them back, and I hope you will watch that and enjoy it. But I've had some problems, and I don't mean to be griping, but I've had some problems. There have been people calling me personally, but they're calling me at work, at my place of employment, and that really doesn't look good. And as far as I work in government, I'm a firefighter, and I work for a municipality, and I just I hope people will respect that and not try to find out my phone number at work and call me there, because I'm generally busy when I'm there, and I don't have time to begin with, especially to be talking about personal business and stuff like that on the city's phones. So but I'm going to leave contact information here. You can always contact me through comment sections on any of my videos. You can comment, and I'll get right back to you. You can email me. You can look me up on Facebook, because I'm on Facebook. There's lots of different ways you can contact me without having to call my employer. I generally don't give out my phone number. I generally don't do that. I have a couple of times, but those were, different types of circumstances. But I'm more than happy. I love getting the correspondence, and I love talking to people and all that. But I just asking that people may refrain from calling me at work, mainly because I pull 24-hour shift, and I'm generally busy a lot of that. So look me up on Facebook, email me, or comment on the video, and I'll get right back to you. And with that, you guys have a nice day, and I will see you on down the road.